This is Volkswagen ID.3, and a few weeks before the Frankfurt Motor Show I had the opportunity to see VW's new electric vehicle without camouflage. Today the embargo is lifted and I can share with you my first impressions. What's the interior like? Is there any space in the back? What about storage and cargo area? Let's find out together. We'll start with the dimensions. The ID.3 is slightly longer than the Golf Mark 7, but it's also 6 centimeters taller, which you can see from the outside, but it's a different story on the inside. More on that in a moment. The wheelbase is a staggering 14 centimeters longer than on the Golf and just 2 centimeters shorter than on the Passat. The car is based on the new modular platform dedicated to electric vehicles, called MEB. The electric motor is in the back and the battery packs are in the floor. Depending on the type of vehicle, the floor can be longer or shorter and may contain more or less battery packs. Moving the motor to the back allowed pushing the passenger space to the front, maintaining decent boot space and allowing the wheels to be turned at a greater angle. The car I was shown a couple of weeks ago in Wolfsburg is still not production ready, so not everything works as it should. I literally had half an hour with the car to record my first impressions and cutaways, so please forgive me if this episode is not up to my usual standard. And now, let's look inside. So, let's start with basic practicality, and we've got large cup holders, a place here for your mobile phone perhaps, a lot of storage down here, though it is somewhat obstructed by these armrests, but there are two captain-style armrests. Air vents rather low, which I don't particularly like, but there is a screen. Now, the screen is tilted towards the driver. There are buttons, virtual buttons for assist, for drive mode, for AC, and for parking menu, so probably some sort of parking assist, and also physical-ish buttons for temperature and other climate control functions. Now, the speedo is somewhat covered from the passenger by this drive selector stock, so you just twist it to select D, reverse, neutral, and press P for park. There is a panel here for the lights, and also the panels here on the steering wheel, they are dark, which means they will probably light up when the engine, well, the motor, the electric motor, the system is on, and then you will be able to see what's going on here. They will probably, I assume, change what's displayed on them depending on the functions you use, kind of like in Range Rovers these days. Now, the sitting position, the car is rather high and you know you're sitting up high, but because of the batteries, the sitting position is actually quite low within the car itself. So you're sitting more like in a sporty hatchback than in a tall car that the ID.3 is. Quality of the materials is typical Volkswagen. Unfortunately, I wish I could show you the virtual HUD, but I can't because I can't turn the car on. So let's see what it's like in the back, shall we? Okay, so in the back, you're clearly sitting up higher. This seat is clearly much higher than those front seats, so you get a better view over the front driver and the passenger. There is tons of legroom here. I'm 175 centimeters tall and I didn't change the position of the seat, and look, there's just tons of room. There is also space for my feet under the front seat. There are two door pockets, two USB-C ports, but no place to really put the device that you're charging unless you're going to stick it in this storage between the front seats. There is an armrest with a couple of cup holders and even a rather big ski hatch, so this seems like a practical car. We shall go and see what's inside the boot now, and there are also quite sizable door bins, and yeah, I like it here. So the i3 boot is big enough to actually fit me. That's about 300 liters, I would guess. I don't know the exact specs right now, and now I shall talk from behind the camera so that I can show you everything. There is a double floor, two shopping bag hooks, and a 12-volt socket. To drop this double floor, it takes a bit of practice. This is my second time now, and I'm clearly not doing a very good job at it. But this is a pre-production prototype, so I'm sure this is gonna work out better when the final production car arrives. Behind this false floor is another softer material floor, and underneath is a place to store your emergency kit, high-vis jacket, and possibly even the charging cable. So there is a good place to store everything here, at least for an electric car like this, for a small hatchback. Okay, and now a quick peek under the bonnet. Is there additional storage? Come on. I hope it's going to be a nice surprise, and no. Just bits and bobs to do with driving the car, I guess, even though the motor is in the back. Bit of a disappointment. First ID.3 cars will reach customers in June 2020. First to receive their new EVs are the people who reserved one of the 30,000 first edition models with 58 kilowatt-hour batteries and WLTP range of 420 kilometers. First press test drives are expected in early 2020, so subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss my first drive in the VW ID.3.